The way of the samurai is found in death. These words appear in the Edo period samurai text, Hagakure. The way of the samurai is found in death. To us in the modern world, this may sound like an extreme statement. Why did they speak so much about death? Were they insane? Was it a dangerous philosophy that treated life lightly? In reality, it was not. The samurai did not long for death. Instead, they believed this: only the one who accepts death can live without hesitation. When people fear death, they become bound by many things: status, wealth, the judgment of society, and above all, their own lives. But what would happen if a person truly accepted that death could come at any time? At that moment, fear disappears. Calculation disappears as well, and only one thing remains: the resolve to walk the path one believes is right. The samurai understood something important. Only those who accepted death could truly live for honor. And this resolve eventually took shape as a philosophy. That philosophy was Bushido. Bushido is not merely a set of rules for battle. It is about how to live and how to die. A warrior's philosophy that defined both. Chapter 1: Discipline Without a God. Here lies a very important difference in understanding Japanese Bushido. It concerns the standard of morality. European chivalry was deeply influenced by Christianity. A knight makes an oath before God. God sees everything. God judges human beings. In other words, a knight's ethics were supported by an external presence, God. If a knight committed a sin, it was a sin against God. Such a society is sometimes called a culture of guilt. So what about the samurai of Japan? In Bushido, there was no absolute divine judgment like that of Christianity. What restrained the samurai was something else. It was shame. But the shame spoken of here was not simple embarrassment. In Bushido, shame meant the loss of honor. It meant disgracing one's family name and becoming dishonorable before society. Such societies are often contrasted with cultures of guilt, and called cultures of shame. In samurai society, a person did not live only for himself. His actions were tied to the honor of his family, his ancestors, and his lord. That is why a samurai constantly asked himself one question: is this action shameful? In other words, Bushido was sustained not by God, not by law, and not by external surveillance, but by the desire to protect one's own honor. Knights lived under the gaze of God. Samurai lived with the awareness of their honor. This difference produced a unique quietness within Japanese culture. Samurai did not speak much, because what truly mattered was not words, but action, silence, courtesy, resolve. All of these were born from a spirit that valued honor. Chapter 2: Something Heavier Than Life. Here we come to the most shocking aspect of Bushido. It concerns the way death was understood. In many cultures, life is the most precious thing of all. But in a sense, Bushido denied that idea. The samurai believed this: there is something heavier than life. That is, honor. This idea is extremely rare in the world. When a samurai lost his honor, he chose a certain act. That act was seppuku. To modern sensibilities, this may seem like an incomprehensible custom. But for the samurai, it was not merely suicide. It was the final way of taking responsibility in order to protect honor. In samurai society, losing honor was not simply a personal failure. It meant disgracing the family name and betraying loyalty to one's lord. That is why, when they made a grave mistake or lost their honor, samurai chose to take responsibility with their own lives. The act of cutting open the abdomen was a physical declaration that one would not run from one's mistakes. In Europe, however, the situation was very different. In the Christian world, taking one's own life was considered a grave sin. For that reason, knights chose to live on even after defeat or humiliation. By fighting again, they hoped to restore their honor. Here we see the difference between two civilizations. The West, a civilization that protects life. Japan, a civilization that protects honor. And the samurai lived for that honor. And if necessary, they died for that honor. Chapter 3: What two warriors sought to protect. At this point, samurai and knights may appear completely different. But in truth, there is one surprisingly profound similarity between them. It is the reason they took up the sword. Why did knights take up the sword? For the king. For faith. To protect the weak. And what about the samurai? For their lord. For their family. For the honor of their house. The expressions are different, yet beneath them lies the same emotion. The will to protect. To protect those they love. To protect their homeland. To protect their pride. That is why they took up the sword. And yet that sword meant more than mere violence. It was a power meant for protection. Neither samurai nor knights truly desired war. Rather, they were people who carried the fate of fighting in order to protect. Final chapter: A spirit that endures. Today, neither samurai nor knights remain in this world. Their age has faded into history. Yet what they tried to protect has not disappeared. Today, we live not on battlefields, but in everyday life. Quiet towns, time spent with family, nights when we can sleep in safety. These things may feel ordinary. But in the long course of history, they were never truly ordinary. Once, someone risked their life to protect them. Both samurai and knights fought with their own beliefs. Their methods were different. Their philosophies were different. Yet what they sought to protect may have been the same. A world where people can live in peace. What the warriors truly desired was not a world of endless battle. In fact, it was the opposite. A world where, because they carried swords, ordinary people would not need to. In other words, a world without war. And today, we are the ones living in that world. That is why Bushido and chivalry are not merely history. Even now, they quietly ask us a question: how should human beings live? That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel and give it a like. I'll see you again in the next video.